So, traceability. This has got you all arguing, hasn't it? Right. What I'm going to say about traceability, if your EHO has told you to do it a certain way, as long as you're doing that as a minimum, then you're all right. You're doing it properly. No one overrides your EHO except for their bosses. Some of us like to go over and above. Some of us like to document every tiny little thing. That is also acceptable, right? As long as we're all doing that minimum that we are advised to do by the people who govern food safety, we're all correct, okay? So nobody's wrong as long as we're doing that minimum. Right, to explain what traceability is, it's all about the food supply chain. So a farmer grows a crop, that crop's sent to a miller, the miller sends it to a packaging plant, which goes to a distributor, to a smaller warehouse, onto Asda, onto us, onto our customers. There's always lots of steps in between. There's also logistics companies and things. So each one of those businesses is doing their own HACCPs and providing their own documentation. So when there's a problem, it gets investigated right up the food supply chain. The way that it's done is that each food handler records one back and one forward. So where a product came from, what it got turned into, and if relevant, and where it went to. So please consider, if you don't usually do full traceability, if you are supplying another food business, I would recommend that you go into a bit more detail there, because it's another step in the chain. And as someone who has supplied scones to a local coffee bar, who then served them at a week old, and then when the customer complained, they were like, oh, got them from that new sandwich shop round corner. Yeah, just, ooh. For me, if I was supplying another food business, that's what I'd do. But again, I am not your EHO, do what they advise. So, it actually says in the Safer Food Better Business that the easiest way to document your traceability is to keep invoices and receipts. So it's in there. Just store them in a way that it's easy to check back for you or anyone that comes to investigate anything. Obviously, if you're doing your stock rotation properly, you're keeping your ingredients separate from your family food, it's quite easy to do. Most of our foods are not kept for a long time, are they? It's reasonable for us to assume our foods are eaten well within a week, normally within a couple of days. So that reduces the chance that we're going to have to wade through months of receipts to find out where something came from. So in practice, through my research for this course, it seems like EHOs are overwhelmingly just asking you to keep receipts, because your receipts and invoices, they've generally got, they might have barcodes and batch codes on if they're from big suppliers. Even if they're from the supermarket, they can look at your receipt barcode and find out what batch that flour was, So there are ways to do it. I've lost my place. The only time I have known a big recall affect us is in the recent Kinder Ferrero Rocher situation. Because we'd all bought our stocks ready for Easter. We had customers who had brownies and Kinder cakes sat in their kitchens waiting to be consumed. So if we'd been asked, are these Kinder eggs, the ones that have been recalled, how would we know? Hopefully we'd still have the packaging, we might have to rifle through bins or whatever. But phone's misbehaving. So yeah, how would we have known? If we were asked, how could we have advised our customers? I think it scared a few of us into going over and above what as EHOs asked for. If we had a piece of paper that said, right, that cake contained these ingredients with these batch codes, it'd have been really quick and easy to sort out. If you find you have supplied something that's been recalled, you must contact your customer as soon as possible. You've got to report it to your EHO as well. Obviously, they're going to understand if it's something like Kinder, aren't they? But somebody could complain that they've bought a cake with Kinder from you and you can't advise them of whether they're the recall batches or not. So you need to cover yourself by reporting it to your EHO as well. And again, as long as you've done what your EHO told you to do by keeping receipts, you are covered. Obviously, it's more about food safety than covering your arse, but that's what traceability is about. It is covering every situation. So the EU regulations that we are still under at the minute, they don't give a specific length of time for traceability records to be kept. But it seems like shelf life plus 12 months seems to be really good. That would more than cover what we do, because we do handle perishable products in most cases. You can sign up to recalls on the FSA website. You'll get an email for every recall. They are quite frequent. You can get a few every day because it covers everything: physical contaminants, salmonella and listeria type stuff, and also allergens. You know, if allergens have not been labelled properly, things get recalled. So you do get a lot of emails, but you are one of the first to know about them. If you do want to go over and above just keeping receipts, your records should state what you bought from where, what it was made into, and when, and where that product went. But I will reiterate that the SFBB advises keeping your receipts. I will reiterate that what your EHO says is how you need to work. If you want to go over and above, that's your choice, and that's great for you. No fighting.